even if I'm so passionate about fashion designing on or owning a big fashion house, at that point in time I can't afford that particular fashion because I do not have the money to fund it. It means I'm going to have to work and get the money I will use to fund it, because your passion should be able to feed you and take care of you before you can leave a job that fits you and fund you. So the thing here about tech is tech creates this intersection for us where you can come into tech and at the same time you should be able to keep your passion. For example, at the moment, I like fashion designing. I learned it at a point in my life because I just wanted to do something different and all of that. The good thing here, right, is that right now I can fund my fashion designing and at the same time still keep my tech career without any interference. Now you might ask me what is the long time goal? Will I leave tech? No. I like designing, and somehow I'm just climbing up the ladder, checking different things and going. So it means that throughout this journey, I'm still going to have my passion and I'm going to keep tech. If anytime I decide to say, okay, I'm done working as a UX consultant, I still have my passion. And it means right now I can just go all in. But at this point, I've kind of created a balance between my passion and my job. So I can easily flow with it and it doesn't matter. It no longer matters about if your passion is feeding you or not. It's more like a side hustle thing and it's cool. So Leah is saying accounting and catering. Hmm. I like the accounting part of your passion. Now, would I have to look for a way to intersect tech into all of this? I believe, I don't know what you're currently doing, whether you're in the software programming or development part or you're in the data analyst and all of that. But in this part, it just brings me to this to note that it's a lot because it's easy for you to scale and at least predict how long it will take your business to survive or how long it will take you to grow without really collecting investor funds. And imagine if the career is going to be wonderful. I don't know what's up with Anita's network, but still, Bob, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, can you hear me, Amaka?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, so we are talking about how our passions across comes or how we could measure up our passion with tech skills, right?
Yes.
Oh, all right. Yeah, yeah. So I believe for every kind of should I say passion that we have, or every business agendas that we have, or goals we have, there is a specific tech skill that could be merged with it, whether it's in fashion, whether it's in sales, whether it's in influencing, whatsoever point of interest you have. There is always a tech skill that could complement it and augment it as well. So yeah, I believe that there is always a tech skill for every passion you have.
Uh, Thank you, Bob. So now, guys, you don't have to be quiet. You can go ahead and unmute yourself because, Leah, you said accounting and catering. So, what has been which tech skill met you at this point of interest? You can unmute yourself. It's supposed to be conversation now. We're not supposed to have just the two of us speaking. Oh, are you shy?
Don't be shy, you unmute
I'm
yourself.
surprised. Yeah, because you have an amazing interest or hobbies. Let's just say interests, accounting and catering. And we are over 10 here on this call. So please, everyone cannot be quiet. This is your point to talk. Hi, Anita. Anita,
Hi,
can you hear me?
Amaka. Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so we'll be waiting for you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Hi, Amaka. I overheard you say someone actually had interest in those areas you mentioned, catering and was that accounting?
Yes, I believe I don't know if it is a he or she, but person should have studied accounting and then has an interest in catering.
Okay, is that Lila?
I don't know if it is Lila, but I think she is the one.
Oh, okay. Um, yeah. So I mean, I would love to hear that bit of catering, right? And of course accounting as well, but especially the catering part. Recently I have noticed a lot of people are getting into that space, right? Food, right? And they are coming up with several innovative ideas around food.
Yeah. Mav, I can't hear you. Lost you for a moment. Can anyone hear Mav?
No, I can't hear Marv.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
I'm thinking that's his network. So guys, like Ma was saying, I think I've seen that a lot. We have a lot of people coming into the food industry and people are having their various thoughts about how best to serve this industry. And then you have tech in the midst of all this. Lila, please can you unmute your mic? At least talk about your interests. Now we're not all here to be silent. This meeting was set specifically using this platform because we want you to be able to unmute yourself. There's something we say, no question is wrong, no answer is wrong. We're all here to learn and grow. So please don't be shy. I have Bob has spoken. God's time, you're here. Lila, you're here. Edwin, you're here. Kainde, Emmanuel, Anita, and ATM. So I believe that aside from tech, we all have this passion we want. There's always something that you tell yourself that okay, I'm going to work in tech for this amount of time. Then after this time, I'm going to set up this particular thing. Because like I said earlier, I am interested in setting up a fashion house. And for whatever reasons, I want something as big as a manufacturing fashion house. So I am just going to look for a way or use, in short, I have a tech skill basically. So I am going to make sure that that skill opens way for me in my fashion business. So Lila, are you speaking now or you're still quiet? Hi Mav, you're back.
Yeah, man, I kept talking and talking and talking until I realized I was yanked off already.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah, no issues, no issues. So I was speaking to the catering bit, right? The fact that a lot of people are getting into that food space, trying to build, they're coming up with innovative ideas around food, not just production. So that's why I mentioned farming as well, right? So they are getting into production, processing, distribution, and even ensuring that yeah, I think that falls under distribution, right? The logistics, right? The movement of food, from either the processing point, to the consumption point, which is, maybe to the customers, right? Or businesses. So I would love to hear if this person's, thoughts or plans around that space aligns with mine. I mean, I would love to have, some conversations with this person. I don't know who this person is, right? But with the name, I'm thinking is Lila, our
Lila
friend
as
from
well.
Ghana. Okay.
Somehow,
Hello everyone. Yeah, this is Layla from Ghana.
I thought as much. Well done.
Yeah, so basically should I put it in a way that I have a background in art, so I didn't do anything business. But then working with colleagues, I find myself in the accounting space and I realized well it's something that I've always had a knack for. I'd always want to make sure like everything is intact, find solutions to them. And then when it comes to monetary too, high on it. So it's actually been one of my interests recently. And then for the kitchen, I've always loved cooking when I was small. And so wherever I find myself within the workspace, I cook for my colleagues and sometimes try new recipes wherever I am and then share with them. But then currently what I've added up to is I take orders and then I cook to work. So whoever wants to have any specific food or weekends, I cook stew and soup for people and bring themselves to cook and then store in their fridges. So yeah, I do that. I do juices too. So I've been trying lots of blending fruits and juices to know how they go about and how it does things. And so yeah, and how tech met with these interests. So when I started with the 300 dev days, I realized one day Mr. Maf took us through the calculator thing and up. So I built a small calculator thing where I used to track not adding numbers but then orders. So I'll just write one order for this person and then keep it there. So if the person reorders, I know that okay, I keep a track of what the person wants and how the person wants their food. So basically that is it. And for farming, there's something I'm looking into, but then when it comes to Ghanaian setting, I think it is something I look forward to when their retirement because I want to be there with the folks when they are farming to see how things are going. I I did some small hill farming, but then it didn't go as planned. I went back and the people decided to just share what so it was a maize and after farming for 2 acres I only had 1.5 bags and I just gave it back to them. But then funny enough, these people had farms which had already or were successful and they sold. So I had to stop anything with farming. And I'm looking forward to go back to it maybe during my retirement and then input things where I'll be able to know how a lean time of crops and all that. So basically that's it. So yeah, it's me, Layla, and it's been a while. Hello and happy new month, everyone.
So much. Thank you so much, Layla. I am still stuck at cooking for your friends. But that's brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing your passions, and it is great to know that there's space for everyone in tech, and no matter your hobby, it can be turned around. And it's funny how it's not just a new idea of using your hobby and getting into tech. Hi, if you're new, my name is Anita, COO at Beta Copa. I don't think I've interacted with many people here, but I hope to get to know you and learn and grow together because, I mean, why not? It's the tech space and we're in this together. Build community, that's what we do, right? So today we are talking about passion and finding places for it in tech, finding our place using our passions within the tech space, which is quite fun, knowing that that is actually something that can happen. Because for the most part, people have their main job and then have their hobbies on the side, and you'll find them mostly doing their job so they can feed into their hobby, which is like doing two different things at the same time. But what if I told you that you can do both at the same time? Have fun while doing what you love. Because like the saying goes, do what you love and you will never work a day in your life. I really love that saying. It makes a lot of sense. And while we talk about pursuing a career in tech through our hobbies, it's good to know that this idea is not new. We are not the first people to want to use our careers within the tech space. I mean, to use our hobbies within the tech space. There are many people who have gone before us and have done this before. Like, I don't know if you know some of these people. There's Martha Stewart. She's a famous chef, I think. She's into cooking, gardening, and home decor, and she has literally turned that into a job. J.K. Rowling, the famous author of the Harry Potter series, but those are outside the tech space. Within the tech space, we have people like Steve Jobs, who was into calligraphy and design, and right now he is like a big inventor and a big innovator around and within the tech space. Just to assure you and reassure you, for those who are already aware of this, there's room for you, whether you are an accountant like Leila, or you are interested in design and fashion like Miss Amaka, who has actually found a passion and a tech-related career within that, which is like the UI UX design that merges very well with her passion for design and her eye. Because if you are into fashion and design, I think you have like Amaka, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but there's this eye for color, texture, what goes well together. Like you have this eye that looks at things quickly, and you pick up on a good design as soon as you look at it. So that gives you the ability to make beautiful designs even from the back, even without doing so much, because of your eye for design.
Yes.
Or can you speak more to that, Amaka? I think that will be fun.
Okay. I think the part is we have a lot of skills coming into this, and the fact that at least I understand how color works, texture, the hierarchy, and all of that. If I'm to choose, or if I'm producing a wear, I know that I would know what colors would work best, which material also will work best, because like I said earlier, I learned fashion at a point in my life, so it will be easy for me to make that call and say, okay, we're working with this material, this color should go here, we should have this particular design appear on this material. And even if I choose to say I want it customized to fit a particular taste, it will be easy for me to do it, because now I already have UX backing me up, so going into transferring it into my passion just makes it a whole lot easier.
Okay. That
Yeah.
is good to know. That is good to know. God's time is asking, what if you don't have any preference?
Do you not have
say,
a preference?
if you don't have a preference, actually,
Really?
I think there's a solution to that. Because there's this thing, Amaka, that I realized, people are leaving their careers, yeah, to learn a tech skill and get into tech. But what if I told you that you can stay within your career and still work within tech? You're not necessarily going to do the coding, or be within the tech space. Like, you're not going to do the nitty gritty, but you are going to be within the tech space. For example, let's say I'm an accountant like Leila. Leila says she studied accounting. These big tech firms or small tech firms need accountants, you know? they need legal services, they need the lawyers. So if you are a lawyer, for example, if you are a lawyer, for example, you may not have to leave the law itself in order to participate within the tech space. You can actually use your legal skills and help the tech companies that are coming up, because there's a lot of contract work, especially if you're working in the tech space. If you're working with clients, there's a lot of ethical issues coming up, especially now because of AI. There's a lot of legal need within the tech space right now, and that is something that a lawyer can navigate and use to not necessarily leave their learned colleague lifestyle or leave what they're used to, or go to begin to learn how to write hello world in whatever coding language, but you're using your skill that you learned, that you went to school for, but you're using that within the tech space. So I think that is something to also think about. Someone loves the technical stuff. So what kind of technical stuff do you like? Please unmute.
First time, unmute your mic. Stop being a keyboard warrior.
I feel like I'm chatting to myself, guys. Let's make this lively. Let's have a chat. You can't talk. Girl. Come on, you're lying.
Come and see somebody.
So the last time we were here, yes, the last time we were here, we were with Oga HR, and I think you remember what he was talking about. Yes, he is within the tech space. He's doing hiring for tech companies, but he has not left his career path as human resource. So yes, techies and tech companies need human resource. So if you're not really into dropping everything you've learned, or to learn something new and get into tech, you can also use that career path you're on and just pivot and get into tech. There's this other group of people, Amaka, you know them, the organized people. The people who like to rally people together. Yes, give people tasks, talk to stakeholders and customers and customer relations and all that. I think they would do great in product management. What do you think? Because that has like a lot of angles to put together.
Yeah, because they're already used to having things following due process, so arranging everything will just come easy to them. They don't have to think so much about it. God's time said he's ready to talk.
Oh yeah, do
Unmute yourself.
Talk to us.
Sorry. Good evening.
He get voice though.
Yeah. So, where can I start from?
Start from anywhere. Let's understand you.
Okay. I'm studying production engineering, and let's say that part was initially from my dad. I wanted to study political science, so I said if I don't study sciences, it will disown me. So I had to switch to engineering, and so for peace to reign at home. So that's why I'm in the field of engineering. Mostly I'm in sciences. So it's not actually my part, but I later got like fall in love with it. Then my advantage was I know maths a little, right, when I was small. So that was my advantage. So switching to science was very easy for me since I was a little bit familiar with mathematics. So I could pick up some science subject very easy. So that's it. And I do repair stuff at home, electrical stuff, or if anything spoil, I will repair it. But if it's beyond me, they will call another electrician and I will just look at what the electrician is doing and how he's fixing it, then I will learn it then. When another thing spoil, I will just use that knowledge and fix it. So basically I was the electrician at home. So that's it. Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
Bobby, why you
Say
come out? I think this part will be for you. So African parents would turn you to a phone repairer, a television repairer, an electrician, anything, so long it feels like, oh, he can up. I think he can fix it, and then you say, okay, I'm doing tech. So they don't want to know what you're doing. They just you should fix everything.
Yeah, they had us for that reason. So we have to, especially with the technology. I mean, they are quite. The world has changed a lot. That it is us who have to help them when it comes to technology. And yeah, it makes sense. But this old man, but I understand because from experience, what people do is go to school, get that degree, give it to the parents, and then go do whatever you want. So after your studies, you can go and do your political science. I'm sure your parents won't mind you after that. Because I've seen
no,
people do it.
again.
Wait, you doing political science again?
Oh no. I'm no longer interested in it. I later fall in love with engineering and how things are being done. So I
Oh,
don't think
nice.
things basically shaped my path.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. It's good to know. Maka, can we talk about the challenges that can be expected within this transition? Because I know you love what you do, but it's your hobby, yeah? You love what you do, but there are some challenges that can be expected, especially if you're new, for example, to tech, and you just got into tech, but you love what you do. It's within your hobbies and passions. What are the challenges that can be expected, bro, in this situation, and how we can overcome them? Can you speak to that, please? Amaka, are you there? Or am I speaking to myself? Oh, Bob, I've not heard your voice yet. You can also
Hi,
speak to
Anita.
that.
How,
Hi,
how's everything going?
everything is good. Can you
The,
speak? Yeah.
the network situation has been crazy. I was only able to hear like the final statements you made. Could you please repeat yourself?
Oh, yes. As like the question is, what challenges can be expected during the transition within the tech space? Yes, it's hobby. It's what you love to do. You found a related tech career or something you're interested in within the tech space. What challenges can be expected during the transition?
Yeah, just in my opinion, first off, just like you would experience a bit of resistance when you are making a change in anything you are doing. Initially, in your first few weeks, your first few months, you would always, first of all, meet that tiny bits of resistance, and they are caused by the same set of things. You are meeting new information, which you need to understand and absorb. you're facing some new set of unique challenges which are only common within that tech domain. So these things you would need to be able to adapt to them first. But it gets easier if it's connected with your passion, because that way you are able to let's say walk through it without the pains of having to bear the burdens of something. If it was in a case where you do not really like it, it's usually different when you have passions, because there's this extra push that comes when you are doing something you are passionate about. But the only issues I think anyone would face is just those initial resistance, which is common with any field. It's not very different in the tech space. So you just need to be willing to, go for the right set of informations, and be open to be more adaptable to the new environment. It doesn't go beyond that to me.
I also think being open-minded, because being a new career path, a new space that you're in, it's important to stay open-minded, because some things can blindside you, my dear. You can meet, let's say you just got into front-end web development, you learn in JavaScript. There are so many frameworks to JavaScript. There's React, there's Vue, there's there's so many. Knowing what to pick, what to do, but I also think having some sort of mentorship is also a way that you can be guided and make the right decisions, especially at the start, because like anything, any decision we make, it is the beginning that matters. How you start, I think determines how you end up, because we can start things with passion. I will speak for myself. At the beginning of anything, there's always that passion. Oh my God, this is new, shiny new shoes. You wear them everywhere. You wear them to bed. And 3 weeks later, they ask you where your shoes. You're like, which ones? So I think there's that. I think there's that newness that wears off. So to keep that newness there, there's need for continuous learning and open-mindedness. Edwin says, my tech passion is in the area of DevOps, which I hope to switch from banking to in the nearest future. That's nice. And I also like my money working for me, so I love investment, especially in newer stocks. Show us your ways, master. Show us your ways. Yeah, I think Marv, can you speak to this? Some guidance for Edwin, who has interest in DevOps and is trying to switch from the banking aspect of things, especially since you have experience in the banking space. I think you'll be the best to speak to this. Hello, Marv. Are you there? I don't think.
I think Marv is having a bit of issues as well.
Oh, Bob,
Yeah.
can you speak to the question? It's in the chat if you need more clarity.
Okay, so I heard my tech passion is in the area of DevOps, which I hope to switch to from banking to in the nearest future. And I also like money working for me. So I love investment a lot, especially in US stocks. So yeah, first of all, you're in the banking space. What aspect of the banking space are you in? That would also determine the ease of transitioning. I mean, you might be working as a techie in the banking space, or are you just an accountant, a front desk person, HR? What department are you working in? Now, regardless of whatever area you're in, obviously, being a DevOps person is fully digital. Everything happens from your computer. It's something you could gradually integrate into. I mean, if you're not directly in the tech space already within the bank sector, it might be a little bit difficult because everything will be totally new to you. But if you're already within the tech aspect of your banking environment, then yeah, you might see some things that are familiar. But that being the case, whatever the case is, all it just takes you to do is source for the right information around DevOps, join the right trainings, the right cohorts, and gradually, before you know, you are in line. And while you are doing that, you could be doing some side projects on your own, even while you are on your work, because I wouldn't say you want to go and do an internship since you're already within the banking space. And I want to assume that you are actively in the banking sector, means you have like a job within the space. So you could do personal projects, when you are free in 9 times and all of that, building on, a portfolio, something like a portfolio for yourself. As a DevOps person, basically, it's usually based on, how many projects you're able to tag along. So you could find, uh, you could find teams online, you could, in cohorts, projects that you work on with other people. You could lend your skills as a DevOps person while you're learning, and use that as a means of building your portfolio. And when you get your confidence level build up to a good space, even while you're doing your banking job, you could put in for some remote jobs, and gradually you are switching. um that being said, doing that with business, that I think that's one of the beauties of being a tech person. um you like your money working for you. I'm assuming you are talking from the area of forex or crypto tradings. I'm not sure which area, but if that is what you mean, your money working for you basically means you have your capital made and you want to invest it into something that's already working. And as someone working in the banking space, I believe you have an idea of some of all these things, in terms of how to invest and where to find to do those investments. So while you are generating your capital from your DevOps space, you could easily, seek for areas where you could invest those capitals in, and set up the right parameters to be able to monitor it, because it's not just about your money working for you, it's about being able to monitor it while it is working for you. So doing that, I mean, transitioning obviously is a gradual process. It's not something that happens overnight, but if you're dedicated to it, and then definitely it's going to work out for you. Anita, did you hear me?
Yes, I did. And that's some solid advice. Edwin, please let us know if your question was answered before we move forward. Please let us know if your question was answered. And it is, I think once you know, the first step to anything, thank you for that. The first thing to the first step, I think, is knowing what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, my dear, you're going to go to every boot camp, you're going to do every cohort program, and funny thing is you won't finish any, because you reach halfway, you're like, this is not what I want, and then that is time wasted. So I think before you get started, and it's good that Edwin has already figured this out. So for those of us who are still seeking and searching, I think it's important to spend enough time on research, so that by the time you come out on the other side, you know what you want, and then you can start from there, have a roadmap, step-by-step journey, basically, to your final destination, which is really, really important. So if anyone here is curious what they might be interested in, know what they might be interested in, kindly unmute and let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Bob, how did you know you were meant to be in the career path you find yourself in today?
Can I go first?
Okay,
Sure,
go.
Yeah, so when I saw that, and see, I'm being very honest with this, right? Like, probably I'll just mention a few points on how it started, right? I'll make it very brief. So right from time I wanted to go into art, right? I love to draw, I love to paint. I'm sure most people will find it, very surprising, but I love to paint even till today. I do a lot of drawing, painting, portrait art. Yeah, and I've always loved design, but then I also had the opportunity to, use a computer, very early, right? So I also discovered I love to break things. I love to make things, I love to break things, right? After a while, initially it started off as fun, right? So I found it fun, but then I also started making money, right, quite early. Any little thing they will be like, go and meet this man's son. By the time he touch your phone or touch your laptop, nah, this laptop will be very okay. So when they come and I fix the laptop, I get like 2-3 thousand naira. This was like 2008, 2009, right? And I was like, wow, I mean, this is money, right? So when I touched the money for a couple of, should I say, a couple of years, I realized that my talent was, in fact, probably the future was tied to that part. So I also know, I mean, although I love art, I decided to do some research. Can I just focus on making money from computing, or should I study art in school? And I also like the fact that my dad was he came out plain, and he said, Marv, myself, I'm a fine art teacher today. The best you can achieve in Nigeria doing art is probably becoming either a lecturer, professor, which is also in the same space, or you maybe get appointed into a position. I think it was very specific, whether commissioner of arts and culture. And then he said something. He said you can be appointed as a commissioner, right? Commissioner of art and culture. But then remember that in your department you are like 500. Then by the time you put all the schools in Nigeria combined, only one person will get that position, and obviously it will be someone from a very connected background. So immediately I realized that fine art was more of a side hustle. You understand? I don't want to suffer. I want to make money. So I got into computer science. My first year in school, without any good experience of building great softwares, right? My first year in school, I built some wacky software, wacky code, right? This was 2010, I believe 2010 or 2010. I wrote really wacky code and I was paid 100,000 naira. I think that solidified the fact that I don't know, maybe it's tied to my destiny in a way, right? To make money pressing the keyboard, at least in a legit way. Okay, so Anita, you want to say something? Ali?
Professional market man.
I'm telling you. Yeah. So I think that is it. I started coding, I started seeing the money, and for me, of course, the skill and the passion was there. I was always learning new things. I love the challenges. I love to try out new stuff. It came easy, right? I mean, sometimes I face difficult. I get stuck, right? I get stuck, a lot. But I try as much as possible to get myself unstuck. I never knew about the tech field in terms of getting jobs and all that. I was actually doing some work on the side, but it was not. I was not being paid, as I should, right? Because I did not know, about the world outside. Maybe things that were happening in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Abuja. I was in a village, right? So of course I was making money, but then people outside of my environment were making way more money. So if I'm making like 10,000 naira for the same thing, someone is probably making 100K, elsewhere, right? So when I got into school, I started seeing those things, right? I left even the lecture hall. I was always in the market, right? Always. I only go to the hall for compulsory attendance, tests, or exams and stuff. I really enjoyed the practical side of things because the school, could not actually, they could not offer that very well. It was fun, right? The practical stuff I'm referring to was fun because, I was seeing the returns. Okay, so I was seeing the returns, and I think that was how I got to realize that I really have to put in more effort and maintain that energy, right, in the space. Yeah, so till tomorrow I'm still doing the same thing, always always learning. I think that was the most important part because I never attended a single training, right? And the reason was not because I did not want to attend the training. Of course, at that point, there was no cash to even attend the training. I got a scholarship to NIT, right? But I could not even afford going there. So yeah, I think that is it. Just putting that energy to ensure that I continue learning, continue building, and of course, continuing, in business. So yeah, let me stop here so I won't take everybody's time. Thank you. I also see a message from Edwin. I wanted to respond to that, but maybe after you're done, Anita. So go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, I thought I think Bob and Amaka can also share their experience about how they came to the conclusion of the careers careers they're in right now. And I know Amaka we touched a bit on it. But yeah, let's hear from Bob and then Amaka.
Okay. So mine is a bit funny. I got to find out about programming actually as well before I got into school, and that was when I started learning about it. But what made me get into programming was so when I was much younger, I already had this passion for coming up with new stuff, basically trying to invent things. I had this idea book where I write the technology based projects. And trust me, even though that was a long time ago, they were very valid because I usually went through a lot of research. I had these ideas about the hoverboard back then, far back as 2009, 2008. I had a book where I even sketched the idea. I had an artist, I'm not good at drawing, but I had an artist come up with a sketch, a mock up of it. Then I believe I wanted to power it via internal combustion. Then I also thought about using pressured air at some point. I also thought about using diamagnetism. Now I'm sounding a bit like an engineer or a physicist, I know, but I didn't do any of that in school anyway. So, well, I had those ideas, but over time, after learning a couple of things via research, via all of that, I got to come across simulations and being able to model your code, your ideas via code. That was the first time I found out about programming. Now, not asking anyone or anything, I decided that okay, if I was going to make any of this my ideas come true, I would have to actually learn how to program by myself. So I started learning, I started with, the electronic aspect of things, Boolean logic, logic gates, and all of that. And I was learning from as slow as that. I mean, me and Marv got to know his squad. He must have been wondering why I was interested in assembly language back then, because that was something people were running from. He didn't know it was because of like the background I was trying to come from, like my idea of what programming was meant for. So I had learned about that. Getting into school, I started, trying to learn some more and all that. Then I came across Marv, obviously. He gave me some ideas about what he was into. Then he was a C programmer, if I'm not mistaken. He hadn't started doing all this web-based technology. He was a core memory managing C programmer. Yeah, he was the one who told me that what the heck am I doing with assembly language in this modern era? So I had to repackage. I
I,
think
I
I
was
switched
I
to
was I was really concerned. I felt he was trying to kill himself. Normal
yes, so I
humans were
was
not doing
actually
the
trying
things
to
he was
kill
doing.
myself there. Yeah, but moving from that, anyways, I got to meet other people who were into the whole programming space. And by the time I started sharing my ideas of what I was doing, I started realizing that most of what I was doing was not realistic, at least for my environment. So I started switching gradually, anyways. Um, I learned Java after a while. I think I learned PHP, and gradually the need to make money started arising, and that is even the real reason why I switched to PHP, because I needed something that I could use in developing that would also give me money. And the easiest thing then was PHP. So I used PHP and I started learning how to develop web platforms with it. From PHP, I learned about WordPress, which was a faster way to come up with web pages. And WordPress is basically built on PHP. So I was able to, get these WordPress applications and make, core modifications to them and, deliver to customers. And like that, I started making money from maybe like from oh, I even forgot the part that I was also a video editor at some point, Susha. But from there, I started making small money from web development here and there, and I said, if that's the case, let's leave invention for people who have the resources for it and have the research capacity for it, and let's focus on what will give us money. So by then I was already a computer science student, obviously, and I started focusing more on web-based programming, and yeah, that was it for me. Anita, are you
Oh,
still there?
I'm still stuck at assembly language. I
Very
am
funny.
stuck, but I like the idea of assembly language. And once I am retired, whenever that comes around, I will look into it because I'm fascinated by how it works, being that C is what got me into tech in some way. So, Amaka, kindly share your story. Let's hear it. Maybe you can get one or two from the audience.
All right. Okay, where do I start from? So basically, my journey in tech started a long time ago, but then had plenty rooming in it because I just started off basically with digital skills. I knew that I could pick up stuffs, especially mobile apps or software. All I had to do was look at it maybe once or twice and then I'll have it all figured out. That's where the whole journey started. But in that space, I was roaming because in that period, I got into mini importation at first. I was like, okay, this is the way to go. Let's do mini importation. Then for mini importation, I transported myself into digital marketing because I had a friend who was more like in this stuff, GDG. And she was like, Digital Skills Africa, Digital Skills Africa. So I was like, what the hell is that? And by the time I got in, I saw digital marketing. So I started learning digital marketing. After a while, it felt like it was too bogus. And someone said, there's social media management there. And I'm like, okay, let's try this out. It's more like a niche of its own. And then I went into social media marketing. I learned that for a while, and then I went for a GDG meeting, and they said there's software programming, and I said, all right, I think I would learn this because the guy speaking then was telling us about how he flew from Benin to Abuja to buy kilishi, and how any company that invites him to build a website has to pay a first class ticket. And in my head, I was like, life seems good though. Don't you think I would like to learn this as well? So I agreed to learn programming. And I don't even know what I was learning, whether it was front end or back end. Honestly, I can't remember, but I sure know it was programming. And they said install Visual Code, you're going to be writing HTML, CSS, and I did installation of my system. The first day I wrote a code using the VS Studio. I don't know what happened, but my laptop shut down. And that was it. They said my system had crashed. And I was like, oh wow. It feels like this programming career is not for me because when I went to get the system fixed, or more when they called the price to help me to fix the system, then I was a student. I was like, how am I going to see this money? Please close the laptop and give it to me. God does not want me to do programming. That I left programming. And then I went back to my social media marketing. Then I kept doing that. I started getting small gig, and I was like, this place too, they see one kind of money. But then there's this thing that pushes you and tells you, you have to make more money. How are you going to do? Even though you're leaving school, you have to have this assurance. And I said, okay, I'm gonna learn fashion designing. That's how I went and registered for a sewing school. And hello world, this is me. I went for my tailoring classes. I learned for about a year, and I was still doing social media. And I was still getting money from my social media marketing. I was doing digital marketing. There's something happened. I think that's when I met Mav. And we're talking, and I was like, social media marketing is good. Can you help me look at this design? And I looked at it, and me, Joe, I just collected this, and I was like, this is off. This one did not go here. That one did not go here. I was just giving a review. I was ranting, and he was like, I won't call it ranting. I was giving feedback. And then he made a statement and said, have you heard of UI UX design? I was like, what the hell is that? He said, this is it. And I was like, okay, let me try this actually. What would happen? So that's how I started learning UX design. And from there, I was like, okay, this is not as hard as it is. Then I got into a training program. It was all horrible. I ran away because, man, that training, they were out to frustrate my ancestors. God will help us. And then, when you have this thought about this one and one less, how do they make money? Now, God help us. Sorry for that. But I did that for a while and I left it. There's always this pressure. And I was like, everybody's already designing. What am I going to do here? But I started getting this encouragement that you can do it. Go back, go and learn it. And I went back to learn design. Then after a while, I had like this group of friends that were all learning. And I just started picking up real fast. And then it was like I was leaving everybody behind because I think we're 8, but out of the 8 of us that started design, I'm the only person still working with product design basically, because as I went along the line I found out that okay, I've understood what UI UX design is, I understand the basics, why not move? Because it's a long chain. If you look at the ladder, the way design is structured, so I moved up the chain and then I went to UX. From UX I worked in US for a while. There's something about repetition, about practicing and learning what you know, and the more energy you put in, the more easier it is for you to climb the ladder if you are in a place or an organization that reckons how fast you move. So as at then, and I had, okay, so right now you become the UX lead. And I was like, where to here? But that's how I've gone up the ladder. And yeah, I'm now in UX consulting. And I know that this is just something I want to do because as I'm like this, I'm already pivoting. So there are two things. I'm either going towards UX in AI or I'm going towards UX architecture. But I just love this journey, and somehow you see my long track road of maneuvering. That's how I got here. So this is it basically. Thank you. Anita, can you still hear me? Or you have left me on the call?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I'm here. Yeah, your stories are all inspiring. I think, wow. I think I'm inspired to do more, to do better, to grow, to live, to learn. I don't know. And the thing is, we all start somewhere. Like, that is the beauty. As soon as you know, even if you don't know what you want, I guess, just start with what you know, with what you have, with the opportunity in front of you, and then go from there. Because I mean, if you hadn't started with the hello world and your laptop saying bye bye world, you would not have been here, right?
Yeah, who said that? Bye bye world.
Yeah, you wouldn't have made it here if you had given up at that point. I think that's also another important key, not giving up. You meet a challenge, you turn a corner. There's an animal that works like that. I don't know which one it is. But you see, it's not a straight line.
Nice.
Yeah, as soon as you hit a corner, you turn, like tempo run. You run, you hit a corner, you turn, jump. until you get to the final destination. Fine, a good thing this is not temporal and we get to the final destination. So yeah, I would like to hear from the audience. You guys, what do you think about tonight's session? What have you learned? What do you feel about the idea of having your hobby as a stepping stone into the tech space? You can unmute and let's talk about it. Layla, what are your thoughts? Frederick, keyboard warrior. Let's have a chat. I think we'll be here for about maybe 5-10 minutes. Money. An honest question. If your motivation is to make money, is that a bad thing? Money is a good motivator. I won't lie. It is a very, very good motivator. But the problem comes when you're faced with a challenge that money can't solve. And if you go into something for the money, what happens if the money goes away? Do you go away? So, and I think most people who go into things for money will be swayed by money. Ethically, in my opinion anyway, ethically, and you find a new thing with more money. Okay. Well, I guess it can be. I think Mav would be the best person to speak to this. Where is he? Has he gone away? Mav has disappeared. Hi, Chris. I think money is good, but it shouldn't be the key motivator. Because if money is your main motivation, there are a lot of questions in between that may or may not be answered by money, and that can be demotivating. Christopher, you're kidding me, right? Anything money can't solve, too much money can. But where are you getting this too much money? You tell us, let us also look for it from there. Too much money can solve. Oh, well, I don't know. Amaka, what do you think? Is money the best? It is a good motivator, but I don't think it's the best motivator.
I think it's a good motivator, but just like you said, it's not the best motivator, because the question you have to ask yourself is, you can do anything to get money, but would you be happy with the process you used to get the money? That's one thing I want to mind. Because too much money, like Chris said, can solve anything. But the main question is, how far can I go for this money?
Exactly.
Yeah. At the end of the day, if I sleep at night, would I be happy with myself? Would I be peaceful with myself? So it's just about, okay, how I'll get that money, just the process. If the process to getting the money is cool, please take it up. No joke. Because forget that I had to go this rolling. The reason why I was able to go through this line is that somewhere there was money in it. And somehow I was at peace with what I was doing. I wasn't like, this money get a CBO. I was just at peace with that process. That was just it. So yes, money is a motivator.
Yeah, it's a good motivator, but money is not all. People say money can't buy happiness. And maybe it is true, maybe it's not. I have no idea. Someone is typing.
It is not true.
But let's hear. Christopher, please unmute. Let's hear this too much what you're talking about. What is not true? I've been waiting for you to answer.
Money can buy
Money can buy happiness. I mean, if your money is not enough, you just have to make more. More money will buy it.
One of money is the biggest motivator. Is the best motivator. Because there's a question here. I need you to listen very well. No, I need you to listen to this question very well and give your honest opinion, because I was waiting for you to answer this question. Yeah. An honest question. What if your only, as in only, your only motivation is to make money? Is that a bad thing? I want to hear your opinion.
Let me start with the answer. I mean, from me, right, this is my opinion, but I think
Yes.
it's a very valid, it's a very valid reason to get into tech. If you want to make money and that is all, it's fine, it's perfect. You know,
Okay.
yeah, it's perfect. I mean, it might be difficult if you don't really have the passion to learn, because you need patience, right? But if you
Yeah.
know how to endure and you know that the money will eventually come, I think it's a good one. Just calm down, learn more, get into the trending sports, make sure you're good at what you do, make sure you're not telling a lie, and make money at the end of the day, take care of yourself, I think it's a valid one, in my opinion.
Okay. As in only, Mav, only. I'm stuck at only. Your only motivation is
Yes, if that is your only motivation, it is fine. I mean, come on, man. You can't force someone to have to change or to generate, a different motivation. You know, if my motivation, okay, let me put it this way, right? I want to make money. I want to be a billionaire, not in naira, not in your currency, not Kenyan currency, in dollars. Okay, and my motivation for building businesses, companies, building products is to be a billionaire, and I will be a billionaire. That's my motivation. I don't know if you want me to have another motivation. I mean, yes, with the money, I can do a lot of amazing things. But you see that money, I need it first. When it comes, I will do those nice things. Let me not tell you. Let me not say I want to change the world, because if there's no money, nothing will change. Oh.
What do you mean? Kenya no get currency? Ha! Is Kenya shillings you? Are you the Kenyan shilling? Anyway, I think we should bring this to a close. This is a good place to end. This is a good place to end this conversation. It has been a fun one. We have learned, I hope. Kindly, if you haven't already, follow us on social media, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, so you don't miss any upcoming events. It's been good to have you. It's been a nice conversation. I hope you have learned. If you're to share anything about this event anywhere, tag Beta Copper. I would like to know that these events are beneficial to you as individuals and as well as a community. Yeah, so it is good that we have you tonight, and join us again for whenever I call you upon, join us again, and please follow us on social media, because that's where most of the events are posted. So you won't miss a bit. Amaka, do you have anything you want to talk about?
Um, no, wait. I think I do. So, guys, have you heard about the software engineering hands-on training? That's for those who are engineers here. If you have not heard about it, you can reference our Discord server. There we have the brochure that has been dropped, so you can read what the program is about. It's going to be a subscription plan for every month. You have 8 classes in a week, sorry, in a month, and you get to ask a lot of questions and practice as you go. So you have instructors like Mr. Mav, would have Bobby and some other people join in. So that way you get to learn more and grow faster, because they say the fastest way to grow is if you go with someone, and then having a mentor is going to shorten your journey, probably half the time it took them to get there. So if this interests you, check out the link on the Discord channel, Better Copper, or our WhatsApp. I think it's also on WhatsApp, on the WhatsApp group, as well as the 300 dev WhatsApp. So that's all for me. It said the hands-on also work for beginners. Yes, it does. So that session, you will be vocal. You have to talk because we are teaching you soft skills as well. Thank you so much. Anita, over to you. Anita, are you still here? Oh, wow. I think that was a network issue, but I believe we've learned a lot from today's session. Guys, you can go ahead and drop a message on the WhatsApp channel. Let others know what they have missed. That being said, I think we can say good night. Okay, I'm seeing like beginners. For beginning beginners, it might be a bit tricky because it's majorly for people who are, I won't call them beginners, because if you have learned for a while, you're not really beginners, but you'll be able to cope, right? If you are starting from the scratch, I won't advise. Instead, I would advise you to go for any of our 3 months program where you can learn a lot and come up to that intermediate level before you join this program. Thank you. So Anita, I think you are back. Go ahead.
I am back. I think there's so much to benefit from. It's a hobby. Okay, let me finish with this session. Yeah. What was yes, it is very beneficial to work with a mentor, to work with someone with experience in the field, and it is close, like there's one-to-one, maybe not one-to-one, but it is in close proximity. I mean, twice a week is very good for this mentorship program, and I believe there will be so much to benefit for any individual who signs up. Yeah, so that's it from my end. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Bobby, Amaka, and Ma, for putting this together. It has been amazing. Thank you, everyone, for joining and staying till the very end. Share this with your friends. We have these events happening. And yeah, happy weekend and have a good night. Yes, better copper for life.